Hello everyone, it's Scott and John from the Mercenary Miniature Painter YouTube channel. Nice to see you again. We are here for another 2,000 point Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report. What have you got today, John?
I've still got Elf Fever from the weekend, but this time Droopy Cousins from Nagaroth. We've got the Dark Elves today, my friend. What have you brought for me?
I have brought a Lahmian vampire army, so I'm using the back of the book list from the Vampire Counts book, so we might see some silly combinations of things in our armies. And we're playing Headhunter today, so what's the scenario, John?
It's pitch battle, but double points for any characters killed as of standards. So you've got to run them down and capture their body and make love to it.
And they can be captured back. Brilliant. So we'll show you the table, we'll show you the armies, and then move on to deployment. Right, for the vampire counts, starting off in my core selections, I've got 2 identical units of direwolves, just 5 of them, no upgrades at all. And then I have 2 big blocks of skeletons, so there's 24. They've got light armor and full command on both units. And I don't go anywhere without the most annoying unit in the game, 3 bat swarms. And in my specials, got a nice block of Graveguard with full command. And rare, I have a Banshee. Now, where this army gets more interesting, so the Countess is allowed to take what are called swains, which are units from heroes from other army books, which can take magic items from their respective books. So she has the normal level 2 necromancer following her, but then she has the weirdest love triangle in the world going on, where she has, on the one hand, a Bretonnian paladin on a Pegasus, but also she's got a bit of a creepy fetish for ratmen, and she has a warlock engineer in her thrall as well. So don't know how he sleeps with himself at night, but that is their army. So
Spells.
Spells I've got today. I've got Warp Lightning on him, obviously. She's got Gaze of Nagash and Invocation of Nehek, and the Necromancer has Invocation of Nehek and Dance Macabre. So should be able to get a few little nifty movements around the table, hopefully, if need be. On to the Dark Elves.
Right, so for the Druki today, I have in the core section 2 units of 10 Dark Shards and 2 units of Dark Riders. They just both have musicians, no repeater bolt throws for them. In the special, we have 1 unit of Executioners, 20 full command, 2 Cold One Chariots, 5 Harpies, and 5 Shades. And then in the rare, we have the Hydra. And then for characters tonight, we have the 2 on foot are both on dark. This one's got Dominion Soul Stealer. This one's got, oh no, sorry, I completely balls that up. She's on Shadow. Right. The one on the horse has got Doombolt and Dominion, and the one on foot's got Soul Stealer and Dominion. She's on Shadow, and she's got Steed of Shadows, Pelt of Midnight, and Shades of Death. And then this is the Lord, and he is the Highborn, and that is 2,000 points of Dark Elves. +1 to the vampires then, my friend. Oh, didn't matter.
Is it going to be?
I think I'm going to let you go first.
Interesting. All right. Well, good luck.
Have a good game
as always. All right, we'll come back after Vampires turn 1. Vampire counts. Not a bad first turn. Everything's just kind of shuffled forwards. The direwolves have run up over there on this flank without the Countess to allow them to march. They've gone a bit slower and a bit more cagey. Magic phase was quite nasty, so the Warlock Engineer fired off a Warp Lightning at that chariot, which John rolled, was it 4 dice to stop?
Yeah.
And he stopped it. But then the Vampire Countess managed to get Gaze and Nagash on the Harpies, doing 5 wounds, wiping out the unit. So they are all toast now. And then he's also got the Storm Demon, which allowed him to do Warp Lightning at the single level again. on the chariot and did a mighty 3 wounds, and John failed to save any of them. And I had I tried to do an invocation over here, didn't work, and then I tried to dance macabre the dire wolves into the Dark Elves, but John knew it was coming and he saved a dice and stopped it. So not bad, done a bit of damage to a chariot, wiped out some harpies, didn't cause any panics, but I've of course drawn first blood, and everything's in a relatively good position. So John's turn 2.
Turn 1 for the Druki. So I always find movement a bit difficult with elves because they get destroyed so easily. You've got to go a bit careful where you put your things. And obviously the sorceress not being able to taking the fast cav away from the unit, so I wanted to keep her out. So the Dark Riders will sort of come round on this flank. The Shades just moved out so they could get some shots on the dire wolves. The Hydra moved up because he's not scared of a few swarms. The Chariot moved over this way. The Executioners moved up. The Dark Shards come forward and done a wheel. She just filled in the gap. This Chariot moved up. They did pass all their stupidities. And then these guys, I did shift them back because I thought if I didn't kill any, they would still get a stand and shoot. But they did kill 4 in the shooting. Magic was, I was wishing I went first, even though I wouldn't have been able to do a lot in my first turn magic because of ranges. I tried making the Executioner's cause fear, but Scott stopped it, and that was it for the magic because it wasn't worth casting anything. I was pretty certain it was all out of range.
Because John remembered that this one doesn't have Doombolt at the last second.
Yeah,
he swapped them around.
Even though I think she would have still been out of range anyway.
Probably,
but
yeah.
It would have been closer than what this one would have been. So magic was a bust. Shooting was a bust as well, really. The Shades never done anything to the dire wolves, annoyingly. And then the Hydra's breath weapon done a wound on those. These done a wound to the Graveguard, but Scott saved it. And then the rest shot at the skeletons and done nothing. But these guys did manage to kill 4 hounds. So that one's looking a little bit less scary now. But we're going to need some better turns if we're going to destroy this horrible vampiric horde on the Scots turn 2.
Bit more of a conservative turn for the vampires. I have readjusted my lines somewhat. This dire wolf didn't fancy getting shot to pieces. I didn't want to throw him away, and he couldn't march, so he couldn't get behind this unit. So he has come back to his master over here. The 3 blocks in the center have sort of held their ground. Didn't take the bait of the Hydra with the swarms, as they would inevitably just get eaten up by it over time, and there's nothing over here to hit into it whilst he's pinned down. And these wolves came back a little bit to try and cover their mistress's best friend over here. Magic phase, I used Book of Arcane to get the dog to run back this way, which John obviously let me do because there's not much real gain in it. It's just saving me a few points.
25.
I got these zombies. They were summoned by the Necromancer, and the Warlock Engineer managed to cast Warp Lightning, but John rolled most of his dice to stop it. However, the lovely lady Countess managed to get a Gaze in the Gash off and killed 5 of them, which was pretty good. The Banshee hasn't found her voice yet, as she failed to do anything to the Dark Riders. So quite a quiet turn. On to John. Bit more of an eventful turn there, John.
Yeah, a lot better than the first one, put it that way. Charges. They passed his stupidity. He failed his stupidity, but luckily there were zombies just within 3 inches of him, so he charged into them. He charged the bat swarms. These charged the bat swarms. They passed their fear check. And then these guys here charged the paladin. They were in his flank, and Scott opted to hold. So that was all the charges. The remaining moves, the Executioners caught in a bit of no man's land. They come forward. This lady here snuck up behind the hill. She jumped out of the unit and come to there. The Hydra's come up a few to there. This little lady popped out over here because there was a Banshee here. And then the Shades just moved 5 so they could get a spot on the dire wolves again. In the magic phase, she tried doing a Dominion. Scott did try stopping it. He failed, but she was millimeters and millimeters out, so that didn't go off.
Crucially, though, used up all my dispel dice.
Yeah, she done a pathetic doom bolt, didn't she? And you did manage to two dice stop that. And then obviously Scott used the rest on the Dominion. She had the one to cried on, so she blasted the Banshee out of it. And then this lady here give the Executioners fear, so they now cause fear. And then in the shooting, these killed 4 skellies. These killed 1 skelly. No, not to force a panic check, but never mind. And then these killed 1 direwolf.
From this unit here.
And then in the combats, he only just crumbled the zombies because he only rolled a 1 for his impact hits. The Dark Rider's done 9 wounds to the bat swarms, and then this guy finished them off, so that was them all gone. And then in this one, annoyingly, I only done 1 wound to the Pegasus. Scott done 2 back to me, but because I outnumbered and I was in the flank, I did win, but Scott managed to roll a 5 and held. So that is it after Dark Elf turn 2. Let's see what the Vamps can do in their 3.
Was not a bad turn, if I do say so myself. So after the direwolves charged in to relieve the paladin, and the Dark Riders fled, not voluntarily. They failed a panic check from being charged in the flank while engaged in the front. So they failed there. I did look around for some targets, but the problem is I know that she's got the Life Taker crossbow, which always hits on 2s. She's got 2 magic missiles. There's a unit of shades there. There's way too many things, which he's only got 1 wound left on that Pegasus. I don't want to get him sniped. So, well, no, it is 2 wounds. He got 3 wounds, but yeah, still, it would have been a bit risky. So he's fallen back over here. However, my magic phase was nasty. So the Necromancer started off by summoning a unit of zombies right in front of the Sorceress that was there. The Countess then got Gaze Nagash as an irresistible force and killed 5 of these guys. I tried the Book of Arkan, which John stopped, but then I managed to get a fairly high roll on Dance Macabre.
Every roll was a fairly high roll.
I think that is fair to say. So the zombies charged the Sorceress, who fled and got on this side of the Executioners, so they went into the flank. However, I did save the Storm Demon and blasted the lady away. I only actually got 2 wounds, but that was all I needed. And the Executioners then completely failed to do
as
anything.
They do.
So the zombies didn't do anything back as expected, but they only lost by 1 thanks to a musician, and so they just crumbled 1. So now the Executioners are sort of sitting in a bit of a rubbish spot. So it looks like John's got most control over this side, but it's looking a bit bad news in the middle over here. So we'll see if he can pull something out the bag this turn. What's happened this turn then, John?
So, charges, we passed by for stupidities again. This chariot passed his panic from the Dark Riders that were in 4. He decided to charge the Direwolves. The Shades opted to charge the Direwolves. That was all my charges. The Shades did pass their fear check. Obviously, the Cold One chariot never had to. Magic, I didn't really have a lot to do, but I managed to just about play it well. Trying to bait Scott's dice out because I didn't want him stopping my unit causing fear. I made this lady fly. Scott didn't take the bait, so she just literally moved to there. And then I put the fear spell back on him again, but I double sixed it. So Scott couldn't stop that one, so that went about as well as it could. Shooting, we killed another 6 skeletons this time. 5.
Yeah, we've whittled them down, taken a rank off of them.
With the 2 units of Dark Shards, and then in the combats, annoyingly, these didn't kill enough. I needed to kill 1 more, even though the Highborn was in there. And the Chariot, even though he whiffed his impact hits, he only rolled 1 and only killed 1. The Cold Ones and the Chariot crew done the rest, and they held, but the Shades overran. So that's how it is. Druki turn 3, on to you. Scott.
All right, nothing too decisive has happened yet, but I think it definitely feels like it's coming to a climax one way or another. Everything's building up to this big fight in the middle. Movement-wise, I was quite cagey again. I was march blocked for both of these units, so I didn't get to advance into the executioners as I wanted, so I've got to prepare for all of these units hitting me. Stupidly, last turn I left him facing the wrong way, so he wasn't able to charge anyone, so he's just kind of hoping that he doesn't get shot off the face of the earth this turn. These guys advanced on the chariot, and then in the magic phase I used Dance Macabre, which I got off, and they charged the chariot, which then fled. I got a Warp Lightning from this guy onto the Hydra and did 2 wounds. And then I summoned a nice big block of 12 zombies over here. I did try to Book of Arcane them into the Sorceress, but John obviously saved dice to stop it, and he stopped the Storm Demon as well. But both of them are still going, and John's got a couple of fleeing units now that he needs to rally and see what he can do to shore up his lines in the middle. I think there might be a bit of ill will towards me now, right, John?
Towards your dice. There's always ill will towards you anyway, but especially towards your dice tonight.
To be fair, your dice are the ones that let you down this time, not mine.
Oh, it was a bad one. Right, charges. The executioners went in against the Graveguard. Not expecting too much, but I was hoping a bit more than what they'd done. Movement, the Shades got out of the way. Oh, this guy here failed stupidity, and his best mate over here ran off the board. So that was a pretty bad start to the turn. Remaining moves. So Sorcerers come to here. These guys shuffled out the way over there. This Sorceress moved out the way of the zombies after these guys wheeled round and moved. These guys just shuffled back. And these Dark Riders come to here. The Hydra went that way to use his breath weapon as best as possible and to block the Executioners from getting flanked if they manage to hold. But they never. Right, magic phase is when it actually started going a bit wrong. So stupidly, I tried doing a 2 dice. Well, I used the one to cried on first. Scott stopped it with his dice. I tried doing a 2 dice Doom Bolt. It is only a 6, and obviously Dark Elves get +1, but I only rolled a 4. So I didn't get that off.
Let the side down.
Yes. And then not knowing really what to do because I didn't want Scott taking the fear off the Executioner's unit because I knew they'd be auto-break because I was pretty certain they were going to lose combat. I didn't want to use her dice to try and do it because I only had 1 left. Oh, sorry, I tried Dominion in them as well, and Scott scrolled that. I did get that off. I tried Dominion in that unit. And then this guy used his Ring of Darkness, which is hit him on 6s. But Scott stopped it because he had dice left. And then obviously I didn't bother casting anything else. So I didn't want her to get the remains in play off. Shooting, I've done 6 wounds, I think. But Scott did save 4 of them. So I only managed to kill 2 skellies, annoyingly. And then the combats. Scott's Countess has got Quick Blood, you say, yes?
So I've got Innocence Lost, that always strikes first.
So she did go first, thinking it's probably best off to get rid of some Executioners because they had Killing Blow as well. She did manage to kill. Did you only kill 1?
No,
did you kill 2? Did you? Managed to kill 2. My strikes back. I missed the Graveguard. We did challenge. My champ obviously took it. My champ killed Scott's champ with Killing Blow, funnily enough. And then my lord, obviously going into the Countess, he hit all 4 attacks. So I was thinking, I'm bound to get a 6. But no, he didn't. He did wound her twice, though. So there's a small consolation. I lost combat by 4. I rolled a 9 anyway. And then fleeing, I rolled an 8, and Scott rolled a 5. So he's gone in the side of the Hydra, and I fled to there. So that's how it's gone this turn. Druki, you're looking in a bit of trouble. Let's see what we can do.
Luckily, I was in a good position anyway, because I don't think that turn could have gone worse, to be honest, from a vampire perspective. So I charged the Hydra to back up the Graveguard with these skeletons. I charged the crossbowmen that were over there, and the Paladin charged into the Cold One here. So the magic phase, I was all geared up. I had some nice little bound spells. I just wanted to, first of all, just try and heal up my vampire. So first of all, the Necro tried to do it, and he rolled, although he did get the casting off because I only tried to do the 3+, he only rolled a 4, so John easily dispelled that one. And then the Countess thought, why not? I'll try it myself. And of course, she miscast and ended the magic phase. So I didn't do any of the things I wanted to do, which was a little bit annoying. But then started off strong. These guys, although they didn't do it very well, I think you only just lost by 1.
I killed a couple in the standing shoot and then killed a couple, lost by 1. But I did outnumber you, but I failed and was ran down.
So I was feeling quite buoyed by this. So over here, I went in order of worst to best. So I did the skeletons first. I did nothing to the Hydra. Then I did the Graveguard. I did nothing to the Hydra. And then I did the Countess, and she did nothing to the Hydra. Thankfully, it wasn't a complete disaster because John failed his transfix. So the Lahmia gets a thing where you have to basically do a leadership check or you can't attack. So thankfully, the Hydra didn't attack and the 2 handlers did nothing. They ran. I only opted to run after them with the Graveguard and did not catch them. I was 1 inch behind, so that wasn't great. And then this guy over here, despite his 4 attacks, because he's got the Virtue of the Ideal, and he's got a lance, and he's got a Pegasus. He did nothing. You need to do 1 wound to kill the thing. Didn't, lost, but thankfully stayed. So staved off a complete disaster. But it has meant that we are still fighting over the centre here. So all to play for. John's turn 5. Go on, John.
Good and bad. A lot of good, so I can't complain too much. Charges, I don't know why I've done it. I think I was just thinking I was going to try and hold these up because they were only clipping. The Dark Riders went into these zombies here, and then I did want to try and kill this Paladin, and the Shades points weren't worth worrying about, so the Shades went into the Paladin there. I did pass my fear test, so the Dark Riders did get in, but like I said, because the way the Dark Shards were, they only just clipped on the end. And then rallies, luckily my General's unit rallied. But even with his leadership 10, this guy decided to roll an 11, and then he only rolled a 2 for his fleas. That was pretty painful. Remaining moves, I just reformed these Dark Shards after I realised my mistake with the Dark Riders. So they've obviously ranked up to try and take on some zombies. These reformed that way. She was March block, she moved 9 over here, and then this lady just dropped back 5. In the magic phase is where the fun began. This guy's got the Ring of Darkness. Scott obviously let me get that off, so he's being hit on 6s now. And then this lady here, she cast her Wanda Coridon onto the Necro. Scott did stop that one. And then she went for a Doom Bolt, and Scott rolled. He couldn't stop it, and she only rolled 2 wounds, but did 2 hits, sorry. But she did kill a Necro.
On 2s as well, 2 2s.
2 2s, yeah, just to titillate me. And then the big one, I needed her to get really, I wanted her to minion this unit, but I done a miscast. Annoyingly, it was in the magic phase, I didn't have anything else to cast, but I really needed them to minion, because now there's just going to be more fleas and whatnot, but you can't have everything, as they say. In the shooting, obviously these reformed, but this lady's Life Taker took out Ratman as well, so that was pretty handy. And then, so that was shooting, but then in the combat phase is where all went a bit tits up. The Dark Riders, I said I needed to kill both zombies to tie the combat. I didn't kill any, and so they auto broke. They went there. It was a bit higgledy-piggledy where they went. Me and Scott decided that was probably the best place. The zombies overran into the Dark Shards. And then over here, I really wanted to kill that Pegasus just to leave the bloke stranded if he did win combat. But my Shades whiffed. Scott done 3 wounds to them with his paladin, and then my crew whiffed against the Pegasus as well, and then Scott's Pegasus whiffed. I lost by 2 because of outnumber. Scott done 3 wounds. The chariot held, but those guys have ran away. And that is how Druki turn 5 goes on to Scott. Let's see what you can do in turn 6, mate.
Continues to be tense. I didn't want. I played conservatively, to be honest. I didn't want to do anything too risky, so they went for a charge on the executioners, and the Countess's unit charged the Hydra, who got away. I was tempted to hopper out the unit. He did get far enough that it wouldn't have made a difference, but there's those Dark Riders there. It was a bit of a risk. And there's also some spellcasters about, and she's only got 1 wound left, so didn't want her out of the unit. Magic phase, John did point out I should have tried to heal the Countess, but I wanted to get fear off of this unit so that I could try and auto-break them. It didn't work. I miscast, so that ended the magic phase. And then on to combats. So the zombies broke the crossbowmen and ran them down.
12.
They ran 12. They were hungry. And the paladin finally killed the Cold One chariot. But over here, I didn't do any wounds with the skeletons, unfortunately. And they killed 5 of me in return. So they won the combat by 1. And it is looking a little bit precarious, but it's all to play for. Let's see. Really, it's about rallying, I guess, for John now.
There's a lot of rallying, and I need a bit of good luck as well.
Go on then, do your last turn. Go on, John, last turn. What's happened?
About nearly as good as it could have gone. Annoyingly, so charges, the Dark Riders just went in the flank of these, thinking try and get some points somewhere. And it wasn't the end of the world if I failed my fear check. That was that. The big rallies. So Shades were good. These Dark Riders were good. But as always, the biggest point sink failed. What did he failed pretty high, didn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't run off the table, so does he still keep his points or not?
Wishful thinking. I think he only killed like 2 skeletons with a flame attack, didn't he? In the end?
Yeah, he's pretty pathetic. Magic, she rest of the movement, she moved over there, she moved this way, and that was that. He's reformed there, not really made much odds. Magic, this lady here, done the Wonder Corridon, Scott stopped it, and then she done the Doom Bolt. Scott couldn't stop it, he rolled too high, and you only had 1 dice left. I done 2 hits, and they were both on the Pegasus, and she's killed the Pegasus, so that's a few points there for me. And then this lady over here used light. I didn't want to take the fear spell off these guys just in case. But she used her life taker to kill that lone wolf Scott forgot about over there. But luckily the crafty Druki never forget. And then in the combats, these guys, we didn't take them off. I think they killed 2 zombies, so crumbled 2 more. But they didn't do enough to get them under half. And then these ones here killed
5.
6, wasn't
it?
Yeah,
because the executioner's got 1 in the end.
So to be fair to the Highborn, he ripped all 4. He killed 4.
If he went in the unit, they would have been dead a long time ago, I think. But
yeah, he killed 4, and then they did roll a lot of misses, but then 1 did kill him blow, and Scott didn't save the other one. So I killed 6 and crumbled another 3 more, and so I've got them under half. So not a bad Druki turn 6. It's going to be pretty tight in the points. I think it's probably going to be a draw, but we shall see.
Go on then, mate.
It was a pretty bloody battle, wasn't it? But the points didn't really reflect that. To be honest, I think there's a lot of under halves, isn't there? So.
We both ground ourselves out. Like, it's all of the real killing happened in the first few turns, and then the last 2, we were both sort of out of position and exhausted. So
I definitely managed to scrap back into it, but you got 1126. You had the Executioner's banner, so that is added into it. And then all in all, because your Countess was under half, and a lot of units were under half, I managed to get 1185. For a solid draw.
Nice. I think we've only had 1 win apiece this year, haven't we?
Yeah, there's been quite a few draws, haven't there? To be honest, after the first couple of turns, I thought that was going to be a bit of a massive loss.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's your Highborn pretty much held his own, and the magic.
That 1 bad magic phase you had.
That, to be honest, because that would have been the opposite.
She would have been dead.
If the magic phase had gone my way, I would have killed the 2 casters that then wiped out my casters in the next turn. But that's how it goes sometimes. So it's run very late. We're both going to get it tomorrow. So thanks for watching. Do like and subscribe. I think we're going to start our campaign probably in the next episode.
I think we're going to just do like a preamble.
Yeah, so we'll do all of the...
Yeah, and then we can sort out all the stuff after the game, I think. So there's normally about an hour worth of messing about. Next
video we'll set up, we'll let you know what the campaign's going to look like. So we're planning on, if you haven't seen any of the videos before, we're planning on just doing like a linked campaign. So it'll still be battle reports as usual, but with a bit more story, and it will develop over a couple of months. So we will come back with you with that one. So like, subscribe, it does help the channel. Thank you for watching. Good night.